Has there been a moment in your life wherein you don't know what's going to happen next? A moment in your life wherein you're thinking about all possibilities, calculating all probabilities? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is how the process of me even thinking of coming to Canada had started. I'm very grateful here to stand on the stage to talk about a concept, a notion that is very close to my heart. A sense of belongingness. I'll be talking about how small steps, efforts, initiatives made a huge difference. The end result was me coming to Canada and standing here in front of you. I come from the capital city, New Delhi, in India. And I don't belong to a very affluent background or an affluent environment. I had a very simple upbringing. Humble parents, humble family, didn't get to see the world a lot. But I had the privilege of interacting with a diverse set of individuals through my high school. Now, when I say diversity, a lot of people think diversity means where you're coming from, what's your background, what's your religion. No. Diversity in terms of thought pattern. That provided me a very, very unique perspective. Now, currently I'm studying at Huron at Western University, pursuing an honors degree in economics. I'm making Canada my second home. Now, why do I call Canada my second home? Because I felt that I was recognized here. I felt that there was a sense of community here. I felt that there was someone here that wanted me to make that journey. Now, the year was 2020 when I left India. In fact, I got admitted in 2020. I left in 2021. But I remember the first day I arrived here, the first day I set foot on campus, I was given one name. The name was called Disney Aaryan. Now, the reason that I was given that name Disney Aaryan was because every building I saw, every classroom I saw, everything that I saw in Canada, my reaction was, whoa, this is so cool. This is so great. This is so amazing. Now, the reason that I said it was so amazing or it was so cool because it still felt surreal. It still felt that the obstacles back home, that the hindrances back home, that the difficulties, they didn't seem so difficult now. Now, talking about, as I mentioned that in 2020, I got admitted to Huron. Right from the first year, I started getting involved. Joined 10 clubs, became an executive, started working with the City of London, started working with the Forest City Film Festival and whatnot. But one thing was common in all of these positions. Now, the common thing was that I wanted to help the people around me. I wanted to make sure that I can do anything in my capacity to help the people around me. So, in October 2020, as I progressed from having these first-year positions, having these executive positions, a lot of people came up to me and started asking me that, Aaryan, why do you have to take every position? Why do you have to do everything? Well, I was clear about one thing, that if there's anything I can do in my power, if there's any position that I can take, if there's any authority that I can take that makes someone's life better, that makes an impact, then why not? Why would I hesitate to even think about it? November 2020 brought me one of my greatest achievements in life. I was awarded the Huron blue tie that I'm wearing right now. This was given to me by the president of the institution, Huron University. And the reason that I was given this tie was because I did something for the community. I did something that was making a change. And I'm very proud to announce that I became the first student in their first year to be given this tie. Now, I was happy, my mom was happy, but the main thing here to take away was that I felt recognized. I felt that there was someone in Canada. I was in India at this time. There was someone in Canada saying that, Aaryan, you did something, and I want to give you something in return. I want to show you that we do want you here. I want to show you that we are willing to make that effort for you. Now, as I graduated from first year, I came into my second year, these positions started getting converted. I converted these positions into upper year positions. From becoming an executive of different clubs, I became the president of 4 clubs here. I started getting internships, started networking, really realized the importance of networking in life. I honestly did not know how important it is or how important the way you talk to people can be in life. Now, as I mentioned that November 2021, or 2021, the year was the time when I came to Canada. One of the first things that I really wanted to make sure was that, am I feeling comfortable? Am I feeling okay? Is this too overwhelming? Because coming from thousands of miles away is a big thing. But I'm very happy the friends that I have here, I call them my family, they made sure that thousands of miles away doesn't really seem like thousands of miles away. Now, there were a variety of barriers that I faced while coming here. Now, let me ask another open-ended question. Has there been a moment in your life wherein you think that you just cannot do it? That there is no possibility that the result can happen? There is no possibility that you're going to get the required outcome? Well, that was my biggest psychological barrier. There were other barriers like financial barriers. I remember it was during COVID-19. I went to banks, to the next bank, got rejected by 20 banks, couldn't get that education loan. You know why? Because financial institutions require a sense of security, collateral. We call it margin requirement. Now, how do I show a margin requirement? How do I show security when I don't have anything? But what helped me at that time, or the person who helped me at that time the most, was my mother. She's been my biggest supporter, my biggest inspiration. During that time, when people were afraid of just stepping outside their home, she made sure that she goes into those cab rides with me, goes in the scorching heat, 48 degrees in India, not a joke. She made sure that she was there for me at all times. I'm also very grateful to my father, my family, who were always there for me. Now, this support and effort that I'm talking about made a difference. Trust me, there are small things in life that can make a huge impact. People who drove me to the bank, people who gave me a pop, people who gave me a hope that, Aaryan, you can laugh right now, when laughter felt like a far-fetched reality. I even remember I was not even smiling in that phase, but there were people telling me to just keep going. You can do it. You can take that extra step. Now, you might see, I have a word there called imagination to reality. Now, the reason that I mentioned imagination to reality, the reason I mentioned that there is because it still feels surreal. It still feels like a dream that I'm standing here. But I wouldn't be able to do it without the people around me. Now, the ripple effect, the butterfly effect, the reason that why are we all here. Now, I'll try to show you with a quick demonstration as to how the ripple effect works. So, water droplet in the pond ripples and ripples and ripples and ripples and create an effect. I beatbox, so I'm going to try to show you using beatboxing. No, I didn't have a mic, so I couldn't do it that much, but that is how the ripple effect works. Goes from a small chain to a huge chain. Now, how do we see this in everyday life? How do we see that ripple effect? I remember when Edward Lawrence had coined this term, there was a very big misconception that the end result is certain. That, you know what, you put in a small effort and something will work out. Well, I'm here to clear that misconception that the ripple effect in everyday life is hope. Hope that that initial effort might lead to something, but the end result still remains uncertain. But that shouldn't be a barrier for you to not take that small step. That shouldn't be a barrier for you to not make that effort for someone. I always like to say this, that a smile, a handshake, a wave, a hug can make someone's day. You might not realize it, but it can mean the world to them. Now, what does belongingness mean to me? Have you ever been in a situation wherein we have a lot of university students here. You might have been in a situation wherein you want to go to a party, wherein you want to go to a class or a lab. At the last moment of time, you feel like not going. You feel like, I don't want to go, I just don't feel like it. One of the reasons that happens, and that has personally happened to me as well, that is because you don't feel that calling. You feel that there's no one there that really wants you. You feel that you just don't want to go because you don't belong there. Now, feeling seen and being heard are one of the most important things when it comes to belongingness. Now, don't get me wrong. In a lot of times, you are your own biggest supporter. You don't have to have someone there. But what I really intend to say is that university life is like a marathon. If I were to say it's a 100-meter race, then I would just say you take one boost and boom, you're to the finish line. But no, it doesn't work like that. In a marathon, you have bottles of water on the sides. You take rest. You drink those bottles of water, and then you go again in the journey. That support, that effort, that break, that is what belongingness means to me. That is the drive that it gives you. Now, belongingness also includes being in an environment wherein you feel connected, wherein you feel comfortable, wherein I don't have to act like someone else. I go to a party, I go to a class, I act like the Aaryan that I am. The silly, funny guy who likes to make jokes that no one laughs to. The guy who can be in a room, had the worst mood ever, but can still smile, but can still make sure that the next day might be exciting. It also involves trust. When you get closer to someone, when you feel comfortable in an environment, you always have a trust that, you know what, the next time I'll go to that lab or the next time I'll go to that party, it's going to be better because you have trust that I do feel that I belong there. Now, why do I stress that this belongingness feeling or that feeling of recognition is very important? Well, there was a lot of studies done wherein it said that it has an effect on your mental and physical health. There's numerous studies done wherein they've said that your mental health can be directly proportional or correlated in that feeling of belongingness. But let me give you the non-complex version. Not necessarily you will be super happy the time you feel you belong there. There won't be an immediate change. There won't be an immediate shift. But at the same time, these building blocks, the trust that you build, the moment you start feeling comfortable, these small blocks, again, lead to that wide impact, and you start getting comfortable. You start getting acquainted in that environment. Now, when it comes to generating this feeling, what can we do to generate this feeling? Now, there are two ways. Either you generate this feeling for the people around you, or you generate this feeling for yourself. Now, let me tell you some ways you can generate this feeling for the people around you. Take initiative. Take an interest in people's life. Focus on things that make them happy, that make them smile. There are so many people whom I've met, different preferences, different interests, but I always used to make the initiative that, oh, does that make her happy? Does that make that person happy? It can mean the world to them if you take that effort, if you take that interest. Flexibility acts key here. If you're flexible in terms of your thought pattern, if you're not too dominant, if you take a step back and listen to the other person, that also does make a difference. Now, when it comes to generating this feeling for yourself, I think the biggest thing to realize here is understanding the difference between just fitting in or do you really belong there. In university life, it happens a lot of times wherein you feel like you belong there, but you just try to fit in. Understanding that difference is crucial. It's key here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've had a great discussion with you here about what the sense of belongingness is, but let me give you something that you can take away from this session. A small handshake, as I mentioned, a wave, a hug, can indeed make a difference. But in my life, in my journey, I've realized the importance of this feeling step by step by step by step. It did not happen in a day. It took me time. But I'm very grateful. I feel very blessed that I'm standing here and I'm able to show you that importance. I'm not sure if everyone is aware of a very famous line, but there's a very famous line said by Heath Ledger, and he said, if you're good at something, never do it for free. Let me put my twist or innovation there. I always like to say, and I've never said this before, in fact, if you're good at something, never hesitate to do it for free. You know why? Because it can earn you something far more than money. It can earn you respect, earn you loyalty, can earn you trust. It can make someone's day, as I mentioned. Now, in the last, I'll just say that I don't know what I'll do in life ahead. Whatever I do in life, whatever role I take on, I'm going to make sure of one thing, that I make sure that the people around me belong, that they belong here. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a great time. This is Aaryan.